Okay, I
Those
think
are
this
the
is a
guys I look
natural
at.
segue into the next topic. What is the end game with Jauan Jennings? He has a calf injury. I'm sure it's really a calf injury, but is it really this bad? I mean, we don't see him out there at all. They don't really answer the question directly. He's already made the ultimatum: sign me or trade me. We got 3 weeks left. They open their season in 3 weeks. Do you think he will be on the field playing right there, or sub question: will he get an extension?
This is the ultimate question right now. I read the Kawakami piece, right? You did as well. We saw all the quotes. It was very specific, which just seemed like the Niners were using Tim to carry their water, to put out their message. Especially when the article starts, the calf injury is legit. You know what I mean? It's like that's the first sentence of the article. The calf injury is legit. I mean, says what doctor? Says who told, and then it's like, well, I sense a compromise coming, and here's what it will be. And then it's like very specific. Either Tim Kawakami is the most tuned in guy of all time, or the Niners are using Tim Kawakami to spill their message to the public. That was the first thing. Second thing,
That would be so disappointing.
he gets information that's unbelievable. It's like no hint of anything, but he's got specifics on how it's going to end, how the end game's going to come down, the whole deal. So as far
From
as
the 49ers perspective,
from the Niners perspective,
right?
that's everything's from the Niners perspective.
Yeah.
And it's really, and it's like, I'm not saying access has been traded for info, but it really does look like it on the and
it was very much like the Niners don't want to extend him, don't have to extend him, but they'll throw him a little something eventually just because they're great. It's like, okay, well,
here's
that goes.
Here's the thing though. How do you do it? How do you do it? Because it's if you rip up the $7.5 million that you just signed last year, that's a precedent that I'm sure you don't want to set, right? Because then everybody always who's unhappy with their deal just says, rip it up. Yeah, I got a contract. Who cares? Hey, JJ had one too. Rip it up. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to do that, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want to set that precedent. But then Rosenhaus is a shark, man. Drew Rosenhaus is not going to play any ball with the Niners. You think he's going to bypass JJ's free agent, foray next March for a year or 2 years of an extension? So I don't see how this extension gets done. I think it's a non-starter. I think the Niners are trying to get that message out that the calf injury is legit because they have no intention of doing anything contractually, and JJ has to come back at some point, and if he wants to earn his money. So I think they're going to stonewall him. Now, here's the question: is it smart to stonewall a guy as powerful as Jauan Jennings in your locker room? I'm not sure if you can do that. So maybe they're motivated to come up with some form of a compromise. Tim said there will be a compromise by the 26th. He had the compromise in writing. They're not talking to anybody but him, so I assume that that's real.
The only way I see this compromise happening is if Jauan Jennings caves, and he might. But the way I see it is the Niners over the last few years, at the behest of Kyle Shanahan, have given out some bad contracts out of desperation at the 11th hour. Brandon Ayuk is one, and to players who are a lot better than Jauan Jennings, no disrespect, but a lot more standing and track record than Jauan Jennings. And they clearly regret some of these. Not that they signed the player, just the number they signed him to. So they're aware of the precedent they've set already. This is why Jauan Jennings is holding out, if he's holding out, because you'd be stupid not to. I mean, the Niners have folded like 8 players in a row. They got to eventually stop that pattern. They got to put their foot down eventually. And I think they're doing it now with Jauan Jennings. I think they would play a game without him week 1, week 2, if it meant showing the rest of the locker room and the league that they don't operate that way anymore. That the days of Kyle Shanahan running into the front office at the last minute saying, please, 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 we need this guy, are over. I mean, he still has power, but not that kind of power. And the money people who were in the background are much more powerful this year. That's what I think.
They want
We'll see.
they want fewer injured holdout receivers, not more injured holdout receivers. I mean, they already have a receiver that they think they're paying too much
Right.
who's hurt. Why would
Correct.
they? And if the message through Tim is the calf injury is legit, all the more reason not to sign him. Why would you be signing a contract extension with a wide receiver who's probably already played his best football, who you are telling everybody has a legitimate calf injury that he
Imagine
had in the
at that press
spring, but
conference, Larry.
still has in August? I mean, if I told
Imagine
you
that press conference. You're there and you
Yeah.
say, okay, it's great. Congratulations, everyone. But Kyle, you've been telling us he has a calf injury and it's real for months. Why did you extend a wide receiver with a calf injury? Why? Oh, was
Chronic.
you were lying?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
it's real?
it's chronic, right? Because now it's like, hey, you had it in March. If I told you I had a cold in March and you saw me in August and I still had that cold, it's only a cold, but you'd be like, what the heck's wrong with Krueger? He's had a cold since March. It's now August. But if I told you I had a calf injury or any kind of an injury in March and I still had it in August, that would be very disturbing.
You might want to get a second opinion, see a specialist.
And also their stated spot was, hey, we want to be ruthless. And I don't know. I mean, they love JJ, but guess what? Compliments don't spend. So, I'm sure he's like, hey, I'm the guy who showed up. I'm the guy who showed up in the Super Bowl. I'm the guy who shows up and plays. I'm the real deal. But according to Tim's reporting, they're telling him that the timing is all wrong. And of course the timing's all wrong. I mean, why would you extend this guy who's hurt? And then the other thing is, you need him now. He's got you over a barrel now, but he hasn't practiced all summer. So what are the odds that a guy who hasn't practiced all summer would then in week one try to dial it up and be at the same level with the guys who did practice all summer? What are the chances that he has some kind of soft tissue injury? And how bad are you going to look if you sign him to an extension, even if it's 2 years, $25 million, a reasonable extension? But then all of a sudden you got to announce, oh, and by the way, he's going to be out for the next 4 weeks because he's got a quad strain or a hamstring pull or some soft tissue thing. So, I mean, they've got no good move here when it comes to
and
him.
really the reason DeMarcus has, the reason that Jauan has some leverage right now is because you think that DeMarcus Robinson won't be out there week one, but it hasn't been announced yet. And with Rashee Rice, he's going to be suspended, but not for week one, right?
Right. Not till after the KC goes to New York, so we can meet with Goodell in New York.
So I'm sure the Niners are probably working behind the scenes saying, look, could he serve his suspension later in the season? Because we really need him early in the season when Brandon Ayuk's not going to be out there, when Jauan Jennings might not be out there. But if you were to suspend him week 5 or week 8, we'll be fine. Could you please do us that solid? Like if we find out that DeMarcus Robinson, his suspension is deferred or delayed and he gets to play weeks 1 through 3, then all of a sudden Jauan Jennings has absolutely zero leverage.
The only leverage that I think he has is that he's a powerful presence in the room. And unlike, like McKivitz is in the same deal. And it's like, I think the Niners understand the dynamics of their locker room, that there's going to be some offensive linemen who are going to be talking out of the side of their mouth if JJ gets, broken off, but McKivitz doesn't. Because they're both exactly in the same situation. They're both good 49ers who've outperformed their contracts based on the rest of the league to some degree. And yet they're going to make McKivitz wait until March. And they're going to say, hey, you know what? Play well and get paid. But they're going to take care of JJ because JJ's going to be a vocal distraction potentially in the locker room. I think they could hurt their chemistry quite a bit if they pay the receiver and not the lineman.
Yeah, and I think there's one more factor before we move on. I think a big reason that they would fold in the past 3-4 years is because the Super Bowl window was open and they had to keep their team together. And what choice did they have? Because they're this close. But now they know their Super Bowl window isn't open right now. It could open in a few months or in a year if a lot of these young players grow up quickly. But they're sort of in between. They're in the lump taking stage. So what's the point of capitulating to Jauan Jennings in his 960-yard year? Why? So you might win one more game. So you might win 9 games instead of 8 this year? I'm just saying, I don't think he's got it. I think he doesn't have. I think he's going to come back. I think his cap's going to stop hurting. He's either going to miss time and hurt himself or he'll be out there week 1.
Well, if you've noticed, they're not the only ones delivering this message that the calf injury is legit, because Jauan is putting out on social media pictures of him in Vegas getting calf rehab. Why is he
Mm.
doing that? Because he knows that the perception is that he's jaking it. The perception is that he's got a calf, but it's really the contract. So he's out here going, since he kind of knows the Niners probably aren't going to cave, he's probably getting with the old message of, hey, you better get with that calf deal, because right now there's a big chunk of the Niner fan base that thinks it could be a calf, but you could be unhappy with your deal. And then since you're not getting a new deal, how's that going to wear? So I just think that, and he's a good player, but I mean, let's be honest. Do the Niners even want Jauan Jennings after this year? I mean, don't they?
No.
Isn't it obvious that he's going to have a decent year because of a lack of some of the other weapons, and then he's going to get 3 years, $50 million, and they're not matching that.
I don't even think he's going to match what he did last year, because Ricky's better now. Ayuk's coming back. Robinson's here. Really, I think he missed his opportunity. It's too bad he asked for that extension last year, because if he hadn't, he would have hit free agency this year, which would have been perfect for him. Coming off a 900-yard season, he could have been one of the top wide receivers on the market, but that's not going to happen next year. He'll be a year older, and he won't have those numbers anymore. Sorry. I mean, is he really that much better than Demarcus Robinson? I don't think so. And Ricky's better than him right now.
And a lot of time, in a way, you could make an argument that those guys, they kind of do the same thing. They're all kind of continuity pieces. What I would say is, do you need 3 continuity pieces? I think you need more explosiveness. That's why I think Chosen's probably got a real shot. That's why I think
Watkins going to be taking snaps away from Jennings. I mean, really. Yeah.
Cowing, I think, the Cowing's, still looks like in line to be in their plans, and he is yet to play. Because if you need to throw the ball
over the middle to a big possession receiver, you got this guy named George Kittle who's going to the Hall of Fame. So they should be all right. And you got Ayuk coming back. MSQ says, if someone asked me what Krug thinks of Garendo, I wouldn't know what to say. You keep switching up on Garendo. LOL. All love, but stay consistent on him.
No, I mean, first of all, my opinion on all players, teams, and everybody evolves. There's a new practice today. There's a new injury today. There's a new player available today. It's all evolving. So you're not going to get, that's why you have to keep watching me every day, because I constantly am evolving. And so's Grant, and so's everybody who's doing this right. If you tell me, I change
my opinion much more than Larry does. I do it all. I'm a chronic opinion changer.
But I mean, if you're like, hey, my opion's the same today as it was 10 years ago, well, what the hell do I need to listen to?
Why do I need to watch you? I watched you 10 years ago.
Why am I watching? I watched you 10 years ago.
You just repeat yourself every day. It's boring. I can't stand shows like that. Okay, that's your one thing that you talk about.
Right. Yeah. I'm this way, and I'm always going to be this way.
Right.
But here's the thing on Garendo. I said it from the beginning. I don't think he's a running back. He doesn't have running back instincts. I see him as a faster juice, or a kind of a thicker
He's
receiver.
A mismatch out of the backfield as a receiver. He's an interesting gadget guy that you could do all kind of stuff with, but you don't want to give him 10, 15 carries. He's going to get hurt.
I'm intrigued as heck by his skill set and by his potential, like everybody else. But then the scout in me goes back to, hey, guess what? If this cat were really any good, he would have played at Wisconsin. He would have played at Louisville. If he was really good at this size and this speed, he would have had more than one career start. So you know what? I've already been fooled a couple times this year. I got fooled badly by Austin Pleasance in the OTAs because he looked so great, but he just can't do it. He's having a terrible camp. Maybe he had a better preseason game, but he's just getting destroyed by Huff and all the speed rushers, and then getting Jalen Allen's 240s bull rushing Austin Pleasance into the lap of the quarterback. So I was all in on Pleasance, and I'm not anymore. And Garendo, if you catch me on the right day, you're right. I can see a guy who looks awesome, but then I start thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a second, this guy can't. This is not RB2. This guy can't do this every single day.
All right. MSQ says, Q, why pay JJ? He's washed. Also, we just talked about that. Also, Krug, but on the inside, wait a minute. This isn't my money. That's going to JJ. F it. Give him what he wants. LOL. The real Harvey Dent says, Grant, Larry, please go watch Superman. I need a review. All right, I'll go watch Superman. Niners Forever says, trade for O-line. Make it a priority. We are doomed without Trent. It ain't that simple. It ain't that easy. Debo Samuel Sr. says, McKivitz, Caucasian, JJ, light-skinned Krug. That was very helpful. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Chuko Niner says D. Robinson isn't throwing, catching a TD in the Super Bowl. Yeah, JJ did do that. It was nice. Joseph Ernberg says Isaac should have been a wide receiver. He would be nuts. You have to run routes, though. Carter is better than Carter. He improved a lot. All right.